Hello, little folks. Welcome and welcome back to Pxy-STUDY. So we are back in our session of this preparation of the rigged model for the personal or like a collaborative project of rigging in Blender. So basically, we have to. I don't have much time. I hope I arrived sooner, but I ended up arriving late. So I'm gonna have less time to do this. It will be a quick session. So last time today, still what I was doing, I was grabbing this control rig and making the adaptations for something more or less effective, right? So here we have two behaviors, this behavior and this behavior, based on, so very simple stuff, right? But very effective, that no other riggers out there in Blender will show you. Of course, the principles, they are the same. It's the driver, right? And basically you have this, but the idea, so here is to combine these two systems here. So we have the eye keybone constraint. Turns out it's in the foot mechanism, eye key target foot, instead of the shin. And the reason I do this, because I found this in a tutorial uh, that specifically talks that we can, about the idea that we don't need to put the eye keybone constraint on the shin or in the lower arm. The reason to do this is particularly useful for this kind of rig where we want to employ the auto eye key option, because when we free the shin bone or the forearm bone from the eye keybone constraint, so we are putting it lower, one bone lower in the hierarchy, so you need to use then the disable this use tail, otherwise it will be garbage. That will free this bone, this particular control bone, to some extra posing positions, such as this. And even more, yeah, so this is the combination of the eye keybone constraint with the auto eye key option. We can go beyond that, but this right now doesn't matter. So the thing is that this is good. And of course, this is a hybrid rig, right? And which implies that we can do a lot of, see, this is not a, yeah, this is bendy bones, but they are actually control bones, which are bendy bones. Then we have the deformed bones, which actually we don't see them here, but yeah, so basically there are also bendy deformed bones somewhere here in the spine. And mostly this is not an eye keybone constraint, although we can have also an eye keybone constraint for the pinning of the head. Is very useful, but it's very complicated. I deleted the setup is here to make it simpler for this control rig here. It's just a control rig here for the very basic stuff. So we don't care about here the pinning of the head, but we want at least the pinning for the feet, right? And the, why don't I have the, yeah, so I'm missing, of course, a torso master bone, right? So we probably need to do something about that. We're probably gonna do this torso from this bone. Probably I deleted the torso, but that's okay. We don't care about that. We maybe are gonna get it from this joint here. Let's get here, place this here. We're gonna maybe scale this down, change the color of this bone, and yeah, this should be, so we're gonna call this master torso. And for now, that is, so parent this to the COG, center of gravity, and that should be it. Or maybe, does this has a parent? Yeah, it's parent to the root. This is called the lock body. I think we go here. Okay, let's see if this works. Yes, so this is already working as expected. I'm not sure about this one though. Yeah, I've deleted some structure here, unfortunately, but this one is working, right? Okay, and this is also working. So this is a very special rig that I've devised for the control features. So basically what's happening here, it's still not working as properly because there is some bone that I think that is not connected properly. We need to connect these spines. Actually, this bone, it should, so I'm not sure about. Okay, so probably this is correct, but I think something is not, yeah, certainly something is not working here as expected, because what we were supposed to do here is to, let's hide this target rig here, it's just causing issues. I don't also care about the, yeah, so from this posing here, by extending the auto I key length, I should be able to push the as F key the torso, but something is not working, and the reason it's not working is because simply because there is some bone here which is not connected properly. So see this, what is this control hip sway? Is this one? Okay, this is we're gonna um, I don't remember how this is called, but it's not exactly a control bone, but it's not also a lock bone. So it's like a more like yeah, it's a, let's call it a control bone, but hip sway. This is more like sway secondary. I don't know, hip sway base. Yeah, okay, hip sway base, whatever. It's not the one that we want to pose. So basically, okay, this we know what it is for. Then we have this, control the whole spine. This is lock body, parent to the lock body. This one is parent to lock body. Okay, so both of them are parent here, and something is weird here, I think. Oh, of course, because here, okay, this is a null bolt control. Let's delete this. It's a copy scale. No, this shouldn't be the reason why we, and for some reason, I think this bone is locked. Shift W. It needs to be on. Maybe it's this. No. Okay, no. Something is. Okay, I know what's happening here. It's of course this is all locked. So the reason I've done this is because there was an extra bone that was assuming that that was still not. We can okay, so it's not okay. I can rotate it, but I cannot pose it for because of the parenting relation, maybe. Okay, so let's clear parent. Okay, now we can move it. Okay, right. It's very weird. Maybe the thing is very weird, but that's, yeah, it's very weird. It's like a Nike auto IQ option trick, but still the connections are not working, right? Yeah, something about this spine is not functioning. These bones should, oh, okay, okay, I think I know what's going on. Connected. Okay, let's see. Connected, 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 and lock body. And okay, this is not connected to anything, but yeah, this should be. All right, so why I'm not able to drag the whole the whole thing in spite of a big auto I keychain. Maybe I am, but maybe there's something. Let's try the opposite direction. So it is stopping at, yeah, it is stopping here. So it's as if, okay, it's very weird. I don't know what is happening here. It's probably, oh, maybe it's some key lock. Yeah, yes, that's exactly this. There it is. Of course. Because this bone was all locked. Now now you see we can, if we want, we can control the, okay, I think now this parenting can be done. So we're gonna, okay, here we go. So this is the typical torso controller, but we can also pull the torso with this kind of manipulation, and same in this way here. And with the pinning of the head, we could do even more. The head can stay pinned, and just as you see for this stuff, right? But we're not gonna do this. Just reestablishing this functionality here. And yeah, scaling here, this some having some scaling artifacts, but this is not a big deal here. This is probably because this something about the bones here are not inherent. What we need to do here is to fix these horrid things. So basically we need to redeploy this the parenting in a correct way. So you have the target rig. In my case, the target rig is just uh, recipient of the parenting of their children, right? Child bones of the deform rig, which includes the base skeleton and the helper rig structures that we have here and there. So it's not a mechanism rig exactly. Yeah, it's a sort of mechanism rig. There are lots of different mechanism rigs. This is not a target rig for stupid I key F key switch and snapping features. I don't need this garbage. No, it's a cool system, but it's not sufficient. It's too bad that it doesn't automate yet. Blender can't automate in spite of all the scripting they use for the snapping. This is not a good automation yet as of yet. It would need to automate the also the keyframing in a way that it wouldn't require manual keyframing of these custom properties. So there are different strategies for this, and there's no easy solution. There's not a, but I prefer to animate ignore to avoid as much as possible custom properties, because we cannot pose the custom properties. You need to get them keyframe here. While if we can exchange a custom property by a driven property, for example, it is much better, because then we can pose a bone, sacrifice like the scale, y scale of this bone, for example, to change the behavior. And because it is scaling and right, we can immediately with the same control bone uh, we don't need to select something else. We can just do, so here we have this behavior of the foot, and at any point if I want to keyframe this, then I want to do something here, we can just yeah, reset here or maximize this. So it's like and it's gradual. So we have the here, and this doesn't make us lose the amount of local space, local coordinates rotation of the foot. So that means that, well, maybe yeah, I'm not sure. I think it, yeah, whichever so for example, let's do something here. I'm gonna reset. Let's do a test here. Let's rotate this 90 and let's change the behavior here. So you see that whichever we have here, that should be a 90. The rotation of the bone is probably preserved in terms of local coordinates. So it doesn't matter the state of the rig in terms of the bone constraint, right? This is not reset by default, right? So that means that I don't lose what I've done. I just need to readapt. So if I change the behavior here, and whichever is the case, I can repose, rekeyframe the rotation, right? And if I really need to copy paste the position, this I'm not sure I can do with this bone, but let's see. Let's try something like, okay, let's try this, and let's try this. Okay, let's do this. Let's say that I want this orientation for this. To be fair, it is the same bone. I'm not sure we can do this here without, yeah, because there is a Control C, copy attributes, like we can copy visual rotation, but for that I would need another bone, but it's the bone itself. I cannot pick that bone on this for itself, right? On another, yeah, it just doesn't seem to work. So we can do this if we're looking at another bone, but that's okay because I can do this manually. And so yeah, it's auto keying. So, and let's reset this. Yeah, it doesn't matter. The thing is that we can scale and do the rotation in whichever state of this. What is changing is that we have here the copy rotation follow. This is the default, and then there's a driver. So this is typically explained in more conventional rigging in Blender. Even Rigify add-on has this kind of setup. And copy arc rotation. So this is when so this is the default. The legs stay straight, but if we expand this, now it start to have this arc. But we can still rotate if we want. So if we want to do a gradual change of the, right, anytime I can do the change of the scale. So I don't need to be keyframing custom properties, because it's as if the custom property was already in the bone itself. We need to sacrifice, of course, the scale, some scale of the bone, but that I found that for the most case this is good. Then we need to make a system. There are various ways of doing this, I guess, to have the rest of the rig, whichever, it depends on the control bone that we are sacrificing, this usually the scale transform. We need to make some system, like a mechanism or something, to make this the scaling things functional, right? If we ever want to scale, massive scale the, right, because you see this doesn't scale the foot, right? So this is just a minimum inconvenient, but we can rig that too. We can solve that rig thing as well. So here what we want to do is that apparently I've lost, no, I didn't lost, I just need to move these bones here. I'm gonna Alt M this to the control rig. We're making this very, very simple. So I think what we want here is to isolate this, again, isolate the control rig. So we're gonna get all these bones here. These are too big. We don't want them to be like that. We just want to exchange extend. Okay, we want this to be just like this. So alt shift alt B, this is my shortcut for this assign shortcut. So it's the stick, no, not stick, wire. Yeah, well, shift alt, hold alt, right, there we go. Yeah, because I'm not using widgets here, so this is a little better. And let's see if we have responding. Okay, this is not responding, of course, is because we need this connected. Now we have this. So this is auto IQ option. I don't have the rig here to pin the fingertips, but it's not too complicated. But it's I'm making a very super simplistic rig here, and so this is why this doesn't matter. Let's return here and get this. So this is still not working. We also see that this bone is not following, so we need to go back to the target rig, maybe even more. Gonna pin this one, yeah, to the top, because I'm maybe at the end I'm gonna remove the bone manager thing, because this rig is supposed to be more versatile for users. So it's even the bone manager is an extension. It's free, it's in build, well, not in build, it's an extension, one of those official extensions, right? It's very good. I recommend it. It has some been it has some issues if you try to update your rig over different Blender versions. This has been critical. Make sure, or at least maybe I will just make sure usually that your rig doesn't have some heavy the data, right? The object data of the armature object doesn't get some sort of weird custom properties. Like in my case, I was using another add-on that was for what is the avatars, like it's just the I don't even remember the name. A good, very good add-on for Blender for making 3D avatars, but it's also an extension for free. And then it was having a very gigantic data here. I have to remove that, and then I stopped having problems with my armatures. Okay, so let's go here and try to fix this thing. It's very simple, but rigging can get very tricky. So probably this as we move. So this is a bit weird, right? Because this is the target rig for the deform rig, the helper rig. This is not the target for the actual control bones of the fingers, right? So here I'm gonna make a strange exception, and we're gonna get only the metacarpals here, because I'm lacking some structure here of mechanism rig. This is why I'm doing this way. So we're gonna parent this directly to this. Yeah, actually this could be, yeah, okay. Maybe this will cause some problem. I'm not sure. So we're gonna keep offset. And let's hope that this will. Okay, so this is working. Yeah, okay. So now this is not causing more problems except this. So this is normal. This is because we need to make the I key bone constraint. So we're gonna parent this actually mechanism I key target. We need to actually parent the control forearm connected. So, and then we gonna use no bone constraint here, but actually we're gonna reuse these features here. Yes, we're gonna use all these features. Okay, so we're gonna got the mechanism I key target hand. Let's return here and let's find it here and Shift Alt C. Of course, this will cause rig havoc. Let's return to edit mode. Click just the bone that we want. And from here, we ignore everything that is happening. We just want to change the master I key hand. Then we want, chain length 2. Then we don't not use tails, so same thing. So we don't need this anymore. Now we can also copy this. Let's see. So this we're gonna change here, and we're gonna also change this here. So what we need to change is that also we've lost the driver. We'll have to remake this driver, and apparently we're gonna also symmetrize this. Yeah, not symmetrize, not yet. We're gonna shift alt C, custom operator here. So I got this limit maximum. Okay, so this scales only this bone now can scale on. Okay, it cannot scale. Okay, now it can. Okay, we are going to, so this target is parented probably to the master I key. This is wrong. We parent it actually to the mechanism I key target here. So it will be like the real mechanism rig, like so parented, yeah, to the I key, right? So it's just a parent relation, nothing else. And then we have, okay, this is the I key is already working sort of, but we need to improve certain things, I guess. Why this? Yeah, we need to adapt this. Lost the target. So here stretch to target foot. Okay, so I'm not sure this is ideal for the case of an automator of pole target, but in this rig don't even have a pole target, so we don't need that, right? Okay, so I have this behavior, and then if we want, we also have this behavior thanks to auto I key option. So if any rigger in Blender don't think this is important, look at this, then go to hell, because there is no reason why you wouldn't like to have something as good as this, right? Because it's just an option. It's the powerful ingenious solution from vanilla Blender, very old stuff. Auto I key option, like it's what we can call yeah, it's a pose option. So it's a tool pose option. It's a, I even have a shortcut for this, Alt X, and you scroll mouse wheel to have this change of the auto I key length. It is limited. It doesn't have auto F key length. I was proposing this great improvement. If some crazy developer come up with some, they need to do this, because it's crazy not to do this. This is the, in my opinion, right, it will be the big step forward. Blender could match Unreal Engine in so many ways just because of this. This is very old stuff, the auto I key option, and it was even built in C instead of Python scripting. So, and probably it received some updates over time, but the thing is that it creates temporarily I key bone constraint that works a bit different than the usual one. It's versatile, and then on top of that we can also do pinning with that. It has a conflict with the I key bone constraint, but there are ways to manage. So right now, this whichever conflict it has here, it's not a problem. It just works smoothly. They work in conjunction. So you have a double selection bones. It needs to be this bone and the I key bone constraint. That's why all this setup goes to this hand mechanism hand bone IK target instead of having the IK bone constraint in here. So this bone here is freer. We are freeing the control bones for the control skeleton. So this is a whole control skeleton. So this is out of any IK chain of the IK bone constraint. So I can pose this is in F key. And what you're seeing here is the typical reverse IK thing because of the IK bone constraint, right? And you see, I can just I can pose it manually, like, or I can disable auto key option and just pose it as an F key thing. But the one what they really needed to do with the auto IQ option, in my opinion, is to add one of the things to enable F key pinning instead of just because see, I can pin the joint from the I can pin the joint from the in direction of the I key length, I key chain length. It's not working. Okay, I need to enable it. So for example, let's pin it. I'm calling it pinning, maybe it's not exactly pinning, so it's the extent of the, so you see you don't grab the shoulder, but one step more and now we grab the shoulder. One step more, we grab the upper chest, the chest, right? One step more, we get the, right, the middle torso, the spine. One step more and we get the lower spine, and then more, then we get the whole body in F key somehow, yeah. It looks like a puppet. So this is the master puppeteer skeleton proposition, as I call it, and we can do the reverse. But okay, enough playing. So with the F key pinning property, if someone is able to do this, then we could imagine that we could pin on demand, for example, the joint there. Just playing with, I don't know, here is mouse wheel scroll, but I don't know, shift mouse wheel scroll, then we could pin this joint on demand, or this joint from the reverse I key thing. So because this is doing reverse, I mean, yeah, all this is doing reverse I key, but because of the I key bound constraint, I can do reverse I key also with the I key option, auto I key option, but it requires a special structure and it's very specific and hard to use. I don't have the structure here, so I'm not gonna show it. It implies unparented bone. It's very crazy. So it's like you need to chop your skeleton, your control skeleton, like instead of a connected or even an offset parenting, you need to chop it and parent this control bone, the shoulder control bone, from the rest of the body. For example, I was doing especially with the hand, because the hand, yeah, because it's cool, because there's the finger pinning feature, and so we can do all this finger pinning features, the fingertip spinning, just with auto I key option. You don't need an you don't need an I key F key switch for just fingertip spinning behavior. It's pure garbage. So if you're doing this setup for fingers and you don't have an automation for that, even if you had an automation, it's kind of pretty dumb, because it is a lot of steps for animation, 3D animation, which is super complicated already. So it's a terrible idea, because there is a better way. There is a more, let's say, convenient way to do this. And imagine that Rigify-Add-on receives a lot of help from the developers, right? But auto IQ option, yeah, it was made once, maybe revamped a little here and there, but imagine if they give a little attention to auto IQ option, how good that stuff will be. The idea is not to substitute the other solutions, it's just that it's really groundbreaking, right? And it can really, because it's ephemeral rigging system. It's an ephemeral rigging system. that goes beyond a lot of stuff that if you want to do some ephemeral rigging systems, you need to go beyond what Rigify add-on is doing with scripting. It tries to do ephemeral rigging with scripting, right? Advanced scripting, but it can't. It is just there. Like maybe the I'm not an expert in that, but so far I've observed the it's really nice that snapping feature because it affects the keyframing, right? It's a good thing, but it doesn't go beyond. So you need to go beyond the snapping. You need to automate, like posing something that will automate the keyframing of the certain custom properties, like the IKF key switch. You need to automate those things instead of going manual. So this is what they launched themselves, the developers of that, in sort of a black hole, let's say, like that. They it's not their fault. It's just that it's super complicated rigging and animation, that this method exists for a while. But if you want to look big at that, big picture on that, you need to, no, not big picture. If you want to see a more interesting challenge, you need to look at what Unreal Engine is doing with its control rig and ephemeral rigging. There's a rigger, an animator 3D, one that explains that very well, I think, in one video about ephemeral rigging. So you can understand the concept, and then you start to realize that Blender has actually ephemeral rigging features, like the transform pivot point. This is an ephemeral rigging feature because you have a control bone, and according to the solution that we have here, the rig behaves differently with just changing an option. This is just an option, right? You change the option and you have different behaviors of the rotation, right? Because of some, and so this is very smart tricks in Blender. uh, and same as this, right? So all this is ephemeral rigging. To me, it's very simple, but it works. Auto IQ option, for some reason, not coincidentally, it's a pose options. It's in the pose options. So it's tools, right, that are not, they do not keyframe. What keyframe is what we pose with them, what we achieve. So it's like we change how the rig behaves. I change without actually changing the rig, its structure itself. It's like the bone has a multi dimension. It's not multi. It's quantum physics. It's like the superposition. The rig is a superposition of possibilities, and this is ephemeral rigging. So you can, in some sense, so you have options for the bone itself. The bone is here. It has some structure, of course, the parenting relations, the positioning, the length, etc. Maybe some bone constraints, but it doesn't matter. Essentially, there's a very basic structure, and the options will change how the rig behaves. And you don't have to rig anything besides the very basic structures. You just need to pose, and as many good posing options we have, the more the rig is versatile to allow all sorts of possibilities without having to handle uh, thousands of bones. Like, it's in some way it's as if the rig was inbuilt in Blender. You just need to animate, like pose. You don't care about rigs. Like, it's more advanced, right? It's more intuitive, is more ingenious, is more advanced. So this is the future. Is that the next step to the future in rigging and animation? Is that there might be other breakthroughs, but certainly there might be other paths. But if Blender, in my opinion, if Blender doesn't catch up with this ephemeral rigging thing, it will suck forever. It needs to do this kind of step forward, and there is already evidences here. I'm trying to show that does exactly this. They try to do, they just need some passion, some understanding. Anyways, we need to step forward, because if we keep with old concepts, we won't go very far. And even I am interested now in learning Unreal Engine, because professional reasons, but also because I'm also curious about its rigging and more about its animation features, right? Which relates, of course, to the rig structure that only Unreal Engine software like Unreal Engine offers. And Blender offers partially. It would need a bit more. It's not complicated. Well, it should be complicated, but all right, let's continue here. Let's see what else can we do. So we have this I key bound constraint seems to be working. Everything here seems to be working. Yes, we have this. See that I can control I can ignore the metacarpal, right? So this is the good one. So yeah, so yes. Okay, so we got this. Now we just need to symmetrize this whole structure. That should be enough. Let's see that should work for the other side now. No, something is failing brutally here. What should be failing here? Possibly I'll have to. Okay, maybe there are some bones that weren't symmetric. Let's try this. Okay, now it seems to be working, but what is this thing? It's an extra metacarpal, which seems to be useless. There's no other side of this. Yeah, so it's an isolated garbage. We just delete. That's it. Good. So this should be why you are pinned and you are at the bottom. I don't understand. So we're gonna have to isolate this again. Now, what do we have here? We have, okay, so we see there is this eye thing. We're gonna change this since we can. It's right here. So we're gonna look at this mesh eyeballs. We're gonna also change its material. If its color doesn't seem right, but I think I have changed this material. Oh, of course. I think this is viewport display, right? Yeah, we actually need yeah, because I'm using EV, right? So yeah, so that's annoying. Let's go the shading and let's try to fix those things. Very simple. So okay, there's a principal BSDF, but we're gonna have to simplify stuff. So just gonna, so this is for the skin. Yeah, the skin is there. And then we want for the also for the skin, let's also change this roughness. Yeah, roughness here. Then for as for this, we're gonna get it here. Then we're gonna copy here, paste, copy here, and paste. That should be enough. Then we return to the layout, and here we go. Now we have this. Here there's might be some waves. Yes, lips corner rounded. What is this doing here? That's nothing to do with this. Yeah, let's just delete this. So we need some sort of eyeball rig. So we're gonna look for the deformed skeleton. It's not exactly, yeah, it's a base skeleton. Let's say that the eyes are equivalent to a base skeleton. So we're gonna find some ways to match the position here of this eye. Yes, could be here, right? Or maybe just some vertex here. No, not very good. Let's look. Let's place it here. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's just a reference point. So here we're gonna get there. We're gonna deform. We're gonna add a bone. We're gonna scale down. Look at the axis. Reset. No, X here. Then reset. Then now we're gonna. It can be sticking out like that. That's fine. Then we're gonna change the color. Viewport display for this bone color. I think I'm just gonna get this one, whatever. Then we're gonna call it the same name that we have there to simplify the process. So this will be def eyeball left. So we're gonna just do this, and then we're gonna parent this bone to the deform head there, and we're gonna symmetrize. And now we gonna make sure that this armature modifier save. Let's make sure that this armature modifier works for this. It's simple. Yeah, it seems to be working. And so if I do this now, we can do this even if the eyeballs is a single thing. Even connected by mesh is not a problem, because we can with wave paint we can do this. Of course, why would we want to do this? No, it's just a bit of deform. I don't know if the waves are very good actually for this kind of posing, but we have the structure, right? It's just for some tweaking, which is not super working very well here, right? So but at least it exists. We can improve this later on. So let's return here, and so the bones are in the deform one. Okay. There is also some structures which I would like to use here, which are in another rig. I removed them, but at this point maybe I should recover them, because it will be nice to share this, as somehow I have to remove the things of the rig to make it easier for me to understand what I actually have. And it's a very dense, right, activity. So let's try to add here some meshes. So it will be append. We're gonna bring them directly from my asset character here. So it's Dorothy. I've changed the name, so it should be useful to get this eyebrow. No, it's I could bring the eyebrow too, but no, not this time. I'm gonna go, so icons, arcade top, arcade bot, and tongue. Yeah, I just want this, and hope this won't bring the armature object. No, it didn't bring, so let's hope that those things are somewhere. Well, looks like that we have a problem here. Those meshes weren't. Oh no, they are here. Okay, so good. I don't know why they appeared there. This is a bit nasty. Okay, but at least they seem to be centralized, so we're gonna move them. They seem to be locked. What is this? Yeah, something very weird is happening here. Oh, I'm on, of course, I was on pose mode or edit mode. Yeah, pose mode probably. So what is this thing? It's just origins. They seem to be very. Yeah, okay, we're gonna ignore the origins. We're just gonna reposition these things in the size. Seems weird, right? Oh, they lost the modifiers, right? Okay, so mirror. This one doesn't have mirror modifier. Oh yeah, there were more to these things. Yeah, I have to remake them from scratch. Maybe they seem very big here. Okay, the fact is that these origins are not correct. We're gonna place them to the center to start with, and we're gonna affect on the origins. So what I don't want is to rotate. No, I'm not gonna do this. I should do on edit mode, right? So I'm gonna try to match them to the character design here. The orientation of the teeth, yeah, they don't seem correct. But let's look at the same. The object has lost its orientation. Yeah, very bad. Oh, I see. Of course it has lost the orientation. Something when we appended them, they seem to have lost the orientation. Probably we'll have to rotate. I don't remember how much it was. Maybe it was just 20 degrees. So this seems more or less accurate. I can change this a little more here. It's fine. I'm not changing the orientation of the, what is this? Yeah. Yeah, probably there's a problem here. So we are not gonna change this. This can stay as it is, but we need to centralize it. So for all these three objects, we can apply their locations, but not their, this can apply everything, I guess, but this one just their location and scale also, but not their rotation, because they are tilt, they are supposed to be this. The reason is that when we edit the mesh, we can align, for example, we can align, for example, for this one, we can align this with, not sure I want to actually align this, but we could like align with the local space SZ0 or so it will align with this straight line, which can be useful, right? Yeah, I don't want to do this here. It's not exactly the purpose here. Let's leave it as it was, right? But for organization of the mesh, it can be very well. So the technique here was to actually expand this. The last solution that I had for this making good interaction with this with the melt cartoony melt rig is that we expand this to yeah, they will have armature modifier, but we can add them like there's no bones here, so but we can, yeah, we can just now armature deform this. The thing is that for now, what should we do? If we need some bone to, yeah, we have a, like, just as for the eyeball, we need some sort of control bone here. That's all. A single bone for now. I don't care about the rest. To shift D, of course, this got this messed up. We're gonna call this def tongue. Then we're gonna find the middle position here. It can be just like here. Then we can use this here, so this will be def one because of the head, right? So arcade top, yeah, and arcade bot, just like this is fine. And I don't know if the bones better be reversed or not. Their positioning here, there's the base bone, so I don't really care. Let's try. Yeah, I'm just gonna place them here. This doesn't matter, it's very basic, so we just need to make sure that what to do here. Okay, made up my mind. These have vertex groups. Yeah, there's a solidify, interesting. Yeah, so it's very specific. It solidifies backwards, right? And then it will shrink wrap with the help of the bones, or I don't remember. It's a more advanced system, a more thoughtful system. It really worked. I have to check the model. Yeah, sorry, I won't be able to. Well, we can show. I can show you, in a moment. So let's just fix this arcade bot. Okay, this is the actual. Yeah, I just don't have, it doesn't have the waves, right? That we can fix this. Okay, so apparently this is not really changing anything. I don't know why this vertex group is not working. That makes no sense to me. Let's try this one. Okay, so this is because this thing already had lots of vertex groups, but actually we just want, okay, I'm gonna do this thing here just to make sure that it inherited the other, yeah, so this is bad, right? So what we can do is just we delete the bone. No, we duplicate the bone. We change here, back again, then again here, move here. Yeah, it has a new name. No, the name doesn't matter, but we can wave paint. This bone is empty, so just fill everything. So now the tongue should move, yeah, outside this after we care about the rest. So this is just what I wanted to do about these ones, but looks like that. Oh, yes, it is. It was locked with some painting. Yeah, there you go. So we need just to def1. Okay, see, there's a different code here. This wave paint is full though, so okay, let's use this. It's just like this. No, still doesn't work. Let's copy this. Why is the same name? So why is not working? And so here we got this one. Okay, so very, very weird why this is not. Okay, now this is working. What about this one? Okay, it is working. So I don't know, it delayed to function. Now it functions. So we just pick these bones and these bones. They are parented to the def1 head. Okay, this is fine, but this is not exactly what I wanted, because it's better that we have some sort of target bone for these parentings. Yes, so for example, this one is parent to the target head. Yeah, so this, and so same for these ones. Let's instead parent all this to the target head here. Now I think this is a bit more organized. All right, so now this is fine. Now okay, there's still this. So I'm not gonna complete this one, but def1 icon L. See, yeah, so there's not a full waves for this. So for now we just need to try to simplify this. We're gonna place it. I want to expose this setup here. Okay, so the positioning of this object, it doesn't need to be super accurate in the beginning, as long it is I think on top of the eye, something more or less organized, that should be fine. And probably this thing we want to be, yeah, apply our transforms, right? We could have it center exactly in the mesh, right? So it will be easy to manipulate. Right now it's very garbage full, but I think it would work. So we don't care about this right now. It's more complicated because it would depend on more bones. So this is not the same here, but we're gonna duplicate this as well. And we're gonna make this exactly in that position. No, we're gonna place it on top there, and also gonna change here. I want to use this color here, and we're gonna call generic temp, right? Left. And so we can, it's a deformed bone, yes, so we can get this thing here. Good. Okay, we need to, of course, parent here, armature deform, select the bone and fill full waves. There we go. Now we want a mirror modifier here. Swap. And we want to, yeah, so no clipping here, merge, maybe not even merge, and then this armature thing is after, okay, and we need to make sure that, yeah, so this typical problem, we need to update the waves, right? See, it's symmetrized, but it isn't actually symmetrized, so let's try to okay, so actually it destroyed the waves. Let's okay, so for some reason it starts going nuts like this, so you need to select the bone. It selects the yeah, who would understand? It's super complicated. What you need to look at is what is happening here. Actually, something very weird is happening. Actually, I need to look at the... Oh, this is the wrong... This is the wrong... Actually, this is what I want, yeah. This one and this... No, this is correct, right? It's just that we need this bone to be duplicated. What's happening here? There we go. Okay, so for some reason the bone was lacking. So as for this, we also want them parented to the mechanism for now, the target head. Okay, it's already parented, that's fine. Yeah, it's creepy, but that's enough for now. We don't need to do more than this for the moment. So let's look at the how the arcades work in the original. Basically, the arcades is something like this. So we have the arcade is here. So the top arcade is no shape key, so it's simplified. So it just have apparently one deformed bone, yeah. So that same bone, yeah. So it's simple deformed bone. I don't know where it is, but it's a single full waves. Same here. And then we have solidify, which is just to expand the base and shrink the... So you see, very simple, but then on top of this, it's not over. So how this stays behind? So this is the setup. See, it's not that simple. So we have an armature modifier, mirror modifier, armature modifier, subdivision surface modifier. Those are okay, not just one subdivision. Then we have the... I was using simplified. Then we have a shrink wrap on surface apply. Okay, this is a backup thing, so ignore it. Just the same thing, but for surface apply. Yeah, it's something for adaptation. If we change the shape of the muzzle shape, maybe you have to adapt. I don't remember now, but it's just a backup. And then we have a shrink wrap in, so it stays. Actually, what stays is this single face. We for some reason don't see here. It's here, so this single face, it's solidify, it shrink wraps first, shrink wraps in with a distance of 0. Yeah, really? Okay, so yeah, so here we go. So it's shrink wraps in at 0. I think it was 0, but we're not gonna save here. Anyway, so and then from this shrink wrap it solidifies. And actually you need to know that the target here is not the real face, is a proxy mesh of the face. So it's a ghost muzzle dummy model, as in a universonic mount rig setup. And so basically it's behind, the proxy mesh is behind the real face. So we can see probably here, this is the proxy mesh and the face is here. So the face is slightly above. It's like 0.02, something like this. It's very tiny distance, but this distance is enough to, in certain case, to prevent huge and so this is where these arcades will shrink wrap. And because it's invisible, it's okay. It's not a problem to shrink wrap. So if I can control the arcade from specific bone for the arcade, usually not this one, but I don't see what this one. There you go. It suffers some deforms, right? But in principle, it works like this. So it doesn't protrude, right? But if we disable, not that it needs to protrude, but if we protrude the muzzle, of course, it will be able to expand beyond, so it will follow up. Yeah, naturally. So maybe there are some limitations in more varied expressions, but for most expressions, this is actually very intriguing. Besides, we can scale it and it will stay shrink wrapped. And the greatest thing is that this design was, it's not foolproof of everything, but we can just adjust it. Is the best that I could achieve so far. Well, yeah, we cannot, this is a shrink wrap. We should not pose this too high, otherwise it gets in trouble. But there's no reason to bring this too high in the character design, right? So this is because of the how the yeah, actually this shrink wraps going nuts, probably because I need the real face. No, I don't know, it doesn't matter. So we can do a lot of things, but I'm still developing this thing further. But so far we have I was restarting to have good results in this, but rigging, it's nightmarish. Okay, so we can have so this was the setup, right? So we need to have here, I'm not posing correctly, the there's this we could ignore, but it's good to have. So we need a proxy mesh in order to have this rig to work, and I don't have it right now. So the solidify also, it use the, no, solidify is just for the inner part, right? So but it's important. So should I try to mimetize those things right away in the other file? Right now, no, I think it's not the time. We're just gonna add a few. Where is the other project? Where is that thing? Yeah, this one. So since the mesh are here, so we can get, yeah, I'm gonna add a few here. Like eyes and mouth. Yeah, so yeah, very simple stuff. So also let's make a body. And yeah, we'll need this proxy face, right? So proxy, whichever proxy is just one, but there's nothing yet. So as for here, so you can hide this for now, make this unselectable, and we will would like to have yeah, this thing. So there's this. I'm gonna add a subdivision, and we gonna add a shrink wrap without a target, so it's like value like now inside, and then we're gonna add a solidify, and the solidify, yes, it is. We're gonna solidify behind. Yeah, no, we want it filled. This is not necessary. Then here we're gonna use the target, and so we have this and we can use this also to play, have a little freedom here. And so we can, for example, yeah, then we can reproduce this. It will be copy, no, Control C, copy modifiers, object modifiers, copy modifier to selected object. I think that no, didn't work. So let's try it this way. Then Control C, copy modifiers. It seems bigger for some reason. We're gonna change here. Maybe I changed the mesh. Okay, so we got some developments here already. If we want, we can also hide this entire collection for now. Now What can we work with next, right? So there is still the problem, the control skeleton. Yeah, I think the control skeleton is done, right? The head, the everything there. There's just this thumb here that I need to fix. These ones, maybe it would deserve some fixing. This thing is already working, right? This has this parenting. Okay, this thing is it's working. Everything is working. What about this one? Yeah. Just this scaling is a bit weird. I don't know what's going on with the legs here. It also happens with the hands. Yeah, of course. What's happened is that we are not scaling something about the body, I guess. Yeah, the body is not scaling. It's just yeah, this should okay, so this is why this has a copy scale, right? So it's maybe that's the case. Yeah, so there you go. So we can scale the entire rig now. Yeah, that's it. So why this is not copying scale, by the way? It's oh, inherit scale. So for some reason it had this thing, but it was very specific. I was doing something else. So right now we're not requiring this. So this will do the same thing, right? Yeah. Now, okay, the drivers, right? So we need to just to fix this one. We want the, yeah, definitely I shouldn't have these bones here as targets because this is confusing. No. These are actually mechanism bones. They are for like the I key stuff. All this. Anyways, we're gonna move them to mechanism I key. So this is more higher hierarchy. We just move this here, right? Yeah, some things that lost target. This is as they were. Yeah, it's a lot of problems here. Yeah, we'll have to readjust tons of those things. At least those ones seems correct. So it's more about the something for the list here. So yeah, this I should fix as soon as. But yeah, let's fix this immediately. We got this one fixed, except for yeah, I think this is working, but there is problem with the fix target. Maybe convert to mechanism. Okay, so this is question here. Then we got So I'm gonna not do now. Clean up vertex groups, revise depth skeleton base ways. This is priority. Yeah, which vertex groups, right? This is oh, okay, I know this is like it's like just management. Fix fan bones setup. Yeah, this is more valuable. And revise leverage system, yeah, which is the most nightmare stuff at the moment. The rest is just pure management. It's mostly easy, just time consuming and boring. So we're gonna get this one done once. So we're gonna open recent. We want the dirty here. And what we need to do is just to check. We have. Okay, so I don't have the properties. Looks like that I've lost the... In this version, I don't have the... Even not for the shoulder. Did I remove it on purpose? I don't believe it. Anyways, we should have this one for the... No, this is the thumb. Phalanx? No, this is not correct. So this is phalanx. Phalanx. Where is the metacarpal? Thumb metacarpal. Here it is. Okay, it was hidden somewhere. Okay, so here is the... Oh, I see. Apparently it doesn't contain the actual data. Yeah, it is not containing the data, so it shouldn't. It is wrong, so this needs some small fixing. So I have to leave it there. I don't know. I have to look at another version where these weren't lost, but can't do this now. As oh. All right, so what we do with this, then we just have these bone constraints. All right, then for the base skeleton, it's here. So all these ones we need to readdress the waves and see if they are coherent, at least coherent. They seem to be... Yeah, I remember I have adjusted all that, so this should all be coherent enough. If this shoulder should use this, not sure this is correct, but some rigs may make two bones for the neck. Maybe this is not a bad idea. Here, why this is like this? And why so low here? Yeah, this seems a mistake. This is very hard usually, so this seems to be mostly adequate. Yeah, the knees and the elbow seems right. Okay, so here you see we are missing a little toe there. Okay, so there are a few revisions to do, right? Very small stuff, and then we can jump to the next stage, which is more about what I want to do is that we have a triple limb system. I want to improve it. Maybe we can try to do this now. So the trick here is that I want to maintain the connection here, right? But what's happening is that the deformed bone doesn't reach the, yeah, so what's happening here is that you see the bone doesn't follow. So there are various ways to solve this. Maybe what I prefer to do at this point will be something like this. Have this aligned with the bones, right? The original bone. So, and then this bone, we're gonna use the mechanism as a reference. We can, this is a wave stealer bone, and it was applied with its bone constraint. Even the target is wrong. The dumped track seems correct, but the copy rotation, maybe it's no needed, because maybe we can adjust this with a yeah. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna first align here. We're gonna get this bone to the center. We're gonna change this to the normal GY. So this is somewhere, we don't need to be super exact here. I think we just need to know more or less the what we want here. And then as for here, we want the center, and we're gonna move just this tip here. And I don't think this will work. I cannot move the 3D cursor to, but maybe I can do this. I'm not sure this scaling is gonna work. No, it doesn't work. So I cannot snap the, oh, I can, yeah, I can snap the edge. That means that I can actually snap this to the edge. So it will be something like this. And so this stealer bone, without disrupting the organization of the skeleton, the structure of the skeleton, it will still try to follow. So you need to parent it to the here, and we're gonna find a way to match. So the problem here is that we don't really have the matching here is like somewhat arbitrary. I don't know why it is. Yeah, it's just a deform. No, apparently we're, for some reason, target forearm. Okay, it is parented very weirdly. well, it should parent to the, yeah, we're gonna parent, change this parent here. Okay, and so this actually gets parented to here, so it follows, right? It follows the upper arm from that point here, but we want it to follow the forearm, like, and this is the thing, I don't know exactly where. We have to look it like from more or less visual, right? Discounting, I don't know how to do this. And even if I apply as respose, this won't solve anything, because then we're back to edit mode. What will happen? Yeah, what will happen is that, you see, it's still visual, right? So it doesn't, well, here I was able to snap. I don't know, I can't make it keep snapping from the dump track, so you need to find this visual. So this is a special situation where there's no way that I know that can make the matching, but this works, right? It doesn't need to be perfect. So now what we have is the floating. Instead of still, we're gonna elbow float, and so we're gonna symmetrize those structures. We need to, of course, revise the waves, but for now we are more interested in the, yeah, symmetrization. Let's check here the wave of this. Okay, so maybe it's too strong, the waves of the stealing from the joint. I'm not sure this is gonna, so what is this equivalent? This is more or less equivalent as having a third bone uh, in the limb. The problem for me to have the third bone in the limb, which will be great, right, is that if you have this third bone in the limb directly, you see it's not really following the way I expected. So maybe we need this. Okay, this is a little better, but see, the more we bend, the more it looks like it's not doing the job, right? So it's a bit weird. Stretch to, yeah, maybe we could do a stretch 2 instead of the, oh, maybe we need, okay, so let's try this. Now this is, maybe we need the follow B bone then. Maybe we need a target, right? But okay, let's try the B bone then. Because with this, we have a few more, but the problem is this seems to be the same, right? Yeah, so it's horrible for the auto IQ option to, I tried to, maybe now today I have a better solution, like lock I keys maybe, but the problem is that you have to handle, and yeah, another bone here, it's it takes more time. You need to add, you need to, when you are controlled, you need to scroll, because you're never gonna pose this elbow separately. There it is, and it's not very practical in terms of scrolling. It's just a waste of time. You cannot skip it, right? You need to pass through it in order to reach the upper arm, and so it's just not good. If it were a Nike bone constraint, that will be fine, but if you're trying to do rapid stuff is just not good. So this is why the idea of having it floating, it will be better. And however, this setup is also not super good in the sense of cartoony riggy, because I don't have the, ideally here we'd like to have the splitted, I'm not even talking about twister bone, because this bendy bone with the handles already solves some sort of twisting. So it's not about the twisting, about the tweaker bones in the middle, not on the joints. I would have this, but in the middle of the limb, exactly, to make these bendy limbs, very bendy limbs. So with the tweaker, the Rigify has a lot of them. So I never did this kind of rigs, and now I think it's actually precious. So this means I have to split this stuff, and it's poor thing, because I don't want to destroy this setup, but eventually I have to do this if I want to improve my rigs, the next step, right? So for now, to keep it simple, I can just work with this system, and this doesn't mean that this setup is bad or it won't work. No, it will work with all that, I think. It's just that probably it can be improved. Oh, hold on. I was using the wrong thing, I guess. It's actually something about the influence, right? It's not head and tail, or is it? Yeah, this does very little, so we're gonna resume here. This changed nothing, so you're gonna keep close to here. Yeah, you see, it's because it's not about stretching, right? But what if it were about stretching? So it is still pointing towards that direction, right? But it's because the bone is so large, right? It's geometrically it's not matching. So let's try to reduce this. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, not sure, but okay, anyways, what we can do here is to try to, yeah, don't tell me to drive this. I don't want to drive this. So what we want is just to try to substitute this to for a stretch tool. And this can cause, of course, serious problems. Let's disable this. Yeah, this doesn't seem to be working very well. With this setup here, right? Usually we can reduce the volume variation, but it doesn't seem to be helping too much. Let's see what happens, whatever, with the, yeah, so it's not really stretching to the point that oh, it's the wrong target, actually. Let's change this. Yeah, so reset here. Now we go here. Okay, this is actually better, right? It adapts, right? So this is cooler. So the target was wrong, I guess. This is fine, but we need to find exactly where we want. And maybe here this could no, I don't follow b-bone. This is would be if we wanted to follow the curvature of the b-bone itself, but you see it's curving here and not here, this because of how the bendy bone is working. But again, the bendy bone we might have to change it, so it will be because of we're gonna break it down maybe to at least in two parts, right? And same here. This will not necessarily make us destroy the handles that we have here and here, although here I don't see it. Here we have one, and here I don't see one. We might have to look at it from it still exists. There is automatic, and then there's a elbow float. Ah, okay. It's using this as a handle. Yeah, because right before this bone reached here, so there are a lot of incoherent stuff here. Now this bone hasn't changed, right? This is fine. This is made simpler in this rig because the stretch 2, it's on the, yeah, I see now this is incorrect because I was using the mapping of this bone as this sort of stuff handles, but it now I don't need that. What I need is a real good handle here, and so we're gonna use this one, and I believe here the best positioning would be here. The orientation, though, I think we'll use no, why not? Let's use this orientation here. And so this will be called, let's save here. So we're gonna call it B for bone. So instead of handle shoulder, elbow, shoulder, elbow, and we want to take off the strip character, okay, like that. We want to change the parent of this. We're gonna parent to the mechanism. I hope this won't cause any trouble. Usually this is parented to the control shoulder, really. Target hand. Yeah, the hand is feet are usually weird. Everything is weird in rig. So this is control shoulder. So that means that this should probably be parented to the control upper arm. Okay, just like this. And so we're gonna change the target here towards this bone actually. And so we'll see how this will change. Absolute, well, nothing changed. And here we're gonna use this. No, we're gonna use this, and we are gonna apply to wrist. Okay, this is absolute automatic, so we don't use it's straight. It's just this one that matters, so it's start to adapt to this thing here, elbow. Yeah, so this is it. So what we need to do is we're gonna again resymmetrize those bones, and let's see if everything is. So we're not seeing the best results here, but we see that it seems to be reliable. There you see. So it is working like that third limb bone, but maybe we need to place it a little more to the back. Yeah, it has a stretch too, so we'll have to adapt. And the thing here, yeah, I'll have to. Okay, we're gonna do some. Let's follow. We're gonna select this. We have this, so we just need to pick this and try to adapt here. About here, that's fine. And as for the orientation, it's probably having the correct orientation, yeah. But we can double readapt here again, and then we try to match again these two words somewhere like here, right? Let's try this, and we go back here to this, and then we need to reset the fields, and then once everything is reset, we just reset here, then we delete this dumped track, and this is the original link, which is super annoying. And now we can, yeah, so it seems to be. And then of course we need to see which, if the waves here are anyhow good, but this will be the next challenge, the wave paint, right? So it's very annoying because you have to be going back and forth. Apparently we have the old one, we don't want the old one, and this seems to have been adapted, and probably we would need to why do you have this? Okay, of course we might have to head and tail. I'm not sure why we need this one. Maybe this is just about original length. No, of course we want to have it adapted to it auto adapts, right? So really this is a bit tricky, but need to see if this is responsible. Still not good, of course. We need to assess various other solutions here, but this is the float setup, right? And so elbow float, then we have we'll have to also update these setups here. Looks like in this case these bendy bones, I haven't touched them, so this is advantages. Handle thigh and handle, what are you doing? Handle, oh no, okay, this is the handle thigh, but this is not a good name, right? Handle hip, yeah, this is some bit stupid name, but okay, I see why it is the end of the hip, but this is kind of confusing here. Like this should be called ankle, right? Yeah, it is ankle, so this should be called, instead of thigh, knee, right? So we can try to okay, for some reason I'm not being able to manipulate this. Maybe it's here, yeah, so this is a bug, they need to fix this. So just change here these shapes. So the thing here, this is parent to the handle. No, we can just parent to the, so we're gonna first align the bone here to here, then we gonna, yeah, we need to have the this and the target. then we're gonna try to snap here, yeah, something like that. Align, then from here we want to find somewhere like here, right? This is, I'm still exploring what would be there, but let's try this. And then what we need to do, yeah, let's check if this stretching is correct. Ankle, okay, this is correct. Just the parent target shin, this is correct. This one parent to the target thigh, yeah. And this one handle knee, no, we parent it to the target thigh. And now we need to readdress the bone constraint. So this is, we don't want this copy transforms because the parenting should solve it. And the dump track we also don't want. We want actually the stretch to the target shin. So we want to bring this, we're gonna reset here. Let's reset everything actually. So we're gonna, this is the actual length of it, but it is stretching to the target, of course. It is causing rig havoc, so I'm not sure exactly how. Oh, okay, of course I got the wrong bone. They both have stretch too, but this is the right one. Okay, we want this one to have a stretch to reset. Okay. So I don't understand why it is doing head, tail. Yeah, I like. Okay, this seems more or less what we have from the pose mode, right? But let's see if this matches posing, right? For the left leg, right? Yes, so it seems to be following. You see that we have a problem. Usually there's too much volume loss in one part, so this is probably some other aspects that I need to improve, right? This one is parented to the control shin, yeah. It's just an illusion. It looks like it's asymmetric, but we're gonna get this one and resymmetrize. So let's check the waves. So most likely we need to revise these waves, right? It's very, I'm curious, but I don't have the energy right now. So this is clear that we made an improvement in these setups. This single one, so is the, I don't want the limb triple sequenced. This is where we would have upper arm, elbow as the third bone, secondary bone, and the tertiary bone. So yeah, adding a triple bone here. So because I'm not using this, we're gonna, this miss here, you see it's a big open circle. That means there's no bones here. We can just remove this. The anti-scissoring rig will not be for this one. Physics, I have some physics bond, but they don't contain any physics. This we'll see with the the team what they are using for physics. Maybe they, so the triple limbed are just triple limb, but it's actually triple limb float. That means that just these bones here, they don't seem to be deformed bones. Oh no, they are just very small here. Just the shape of the bones, folks. It's not. I'm not using this system here, the envelope deform system. So they count as stellar bones, like floating stellar bones. So they are not connected directly to the hierarchy, or it's fake hierarchy, because each one of these are apparent to the target skeleton actually, right? So control thigh, yeah, this is control hip sway, yeah, so control shin, control target foot, yeah, so everything here is good, the same pattern. Oh no, this one target foot, yeah, because again the extremities, so this is target hand, yeah, it's all different. They follow another pattern. All right, folks, so that was it for today. So we are almost fixing this one. We revise, yeah, it doesn't show here, so nothing to clean up. We're gonna ignore this for now because, yeah, no, look for old version, or yeah, this will be a larger process of fixing details. This is bizarre. I need to check what's going here. I think this is because I deleted the F key rig, or the tweaker rig that I had, sort of a fake F key thing. That we can do F keys sort of with that, not in certain cases. Yeah, so this is more about wave paint, clean up vertex group. Yeah, and this will make some decision. Then fix fan bone setup, especially for the arms, and revise leverage system setup. That's it. Thanks for watching, folks, and see you on another day. And tomorrow we'll be back anyways for more of this. And then I hope I'll be able in more than one session at least to complete this. Take care, happy blenders. Yeah, soon.